Of all the Nintendo characters, there's only been one who has seen the highest highs and the lowest lows. That, of course, is Donkey Kong. Unlike Mario, who seems to have critically acclaimed games every other year, Donkey Kong hasn't been so lucky. To go from the original arcade game in the Country series to King of Swing on the GBA and Barrel Blast on the Wii is something many fans wouldn't have thought would be possible in the early 90s. Thankfully, he has seen somewhat of a renaissance within the past decade or so, with games like Tropical Freeze and the new Bonanza. What about the dark period? Well, this is one of those games. It's Donkey Konga 2 for Nintendo GameCube. The 2000s were not a great decade to be Donkey Kong. For one, we never thought it would take 26 years to see a new 3D platforming game. Two, besides Yoshi, Donkey Kong was the most experimental series Nintendo had that decade. Think about it. After 1999's Donkey Kong 64, there was a solid 4 years of nothing. Darkness. Then he comes out of hiding. What's the first game DK releases upon the world? Donkey Konga. Next, you got Donkey Konga 2, then Jungle Beat, Barrel Blast, and finally, Country Returns. Aside from DKC Returns, the rest are games with big gimmicks. No gimmick as far out there as Donkey Konga. So in Donkey Konga 2, much like the first, you play with a bongo controller, though you can use a normal GameCube controller too. But no one did that unless that was all they had. The game has your standard difficulties, easy, medium, and hard. In order to unlock the songs on the hardest difficulty, you have to play the game to earn coins. These can unlock items in the store, like sounds for your bongos in-game, or those songs on the hard difficulty. Personally, I find the noises you can change your bongos to a little distracting, but to each their own. There's a couple other game modes as you can see here, but one of the most notable to me is Freestyle, where you can test bongo sounds and hit them whenever you want, whether it's to the music or not. Great for kids, but even they too will lose interest quick. The soundtrack is a little disappointing since Nintendo didn't license the original songs, but rather shortened cover versions. If you remember Kidz Bop, some of the tracks have that low-budget vibe. Some songs on the track list are fun, like Shaggy's Boombastic and the Crystal Method's Born Too Slow. But then you have the songs where you're like, why on earth would you pick that? These are songs such as Stains' It's Been a While. Although it's amusing to hear how they censor the naughty words, what kid with responsible parents would know about it? The only reason it was picked was likely due to its popularity in 2003. Strange pick for a Nintendo production nonetheless. Chevelle's Send the Pain Below. I happen to be a fan of the band. I've seen them live twice. But let me ask you, would you ever make a game for children where the lyric repeats, like suffocating? Need I say more? Then you have REM's Losing My Religion. The song is about feeling hopeless, like you're at the end of your rope, so naturally, it makes sense for a kid's game, right? They already had shiny happy people in the game, so not sure why they had to add this one in as well. To go one step farther, since the days of the NES, Nintendo has had a policy to not include any religious themes into their North American releases. I find it ironic they included this song for obvious reasons. All in all, Donkey Konga 2 is precise and accurate with its inputs, the bongos are fun to use, and there's enough unlockables to keep the game going for a while. It's pretty fun to bust out at parties, from my experience. Despite the game's technical proficiency, the flip side is a limited soundtrack with questionable songs and fairly limited amount of things to do. At least Donkey Kong is finally back and looking better than ever. After some soul-searching, going on darkness retreats, and playing bongos in the jungle, he's finally come back around. Don't judge him for what he did in college. This is Donkey Konga 2 for Nintendo GameCube. The ape is in good shape.